Hey guys, my name is Linus and I'm currently training for an Ironman. I'm about 6 months into the training and have another 6 months to go. I started my training with zero knowledge and zero gear. So over the months I had to learn about the different types of gear that you need for an Ironman. And trust me, there's a lot. My bike recently arrived and with that my gear is finally complete. So today I'll be showing you my entire gear that I've accumulated over the months. We'll also look at the cost of all the gear. Was it really worth it to get all this gear? Or could I have saved here and there? Let's start with my swim gear. Well, the most obvious one are my swimming trunks. These I obviously had before, and I'm just using the same ones I've always used for normal swimming. Next up is my swim cap. This was probably about $10. It's a Speedo swim cap. Then we have a pretty recent discovery of mine. I always had problems with water getting in my ears. So I started looking into earbuds for swimming and I picked one that were available at my pool and it worked really great for me. They were also about 10 to 12 bucks and I've been using them for about 3 months now. They never fell out. They always protect my ears from water. So if you have the same problem, I definitely recommend getting one of those. Next up, we have my swimming goggles. They're from the brand Magic 5. Perhaps you've even seen them on Shark Tank. They produce 3D printed customized goggles. You can scan your face, send it to them, and you'll receive your custom fitted goggles. I'm not sponsored by the Magic 5, but I just really love their goggles. These I've been using for probably about 4 months now. Before I used just a generic pair of goggles, but these are about 60-ish bucks, which is a bit more expensive than normal goggles you can get, but for me personally, it's definitely worth the investment. Also because you don't get that deep eye marks from the goggles. Now we come to my probably biggest splurge in swimming. You might have seen it in another video of mine. We have this beauty. An agile thermal wetsuit. Which cost me about $350. It's questionable if this purchase was needed, but I'm gonna be running early June, and from the previous races I saw that almost all swimmers had wetsuits on, so I got one. Wetsuits also have certain features, such as increased buoyancy, which is really helpful because swimming is not my strongest discipline, and I also think it looks really nice. I really like it, it fits me well. And Zone 3 produces great wetsuits. And last but not least, we have the Zone 3 Safety Buoy, which was about $30 probably, which I use for open water swimming to stay safe if I'm solo. It is pretty small, but it can carry my entire body weight without a problem. So if I need a break while swimming, I can just hold onto it, and during the swim it also doesn't distract me because I simply wear it like this around the waist. And it just floats on the water surface and doesn't get in my way. So that was all of my swimming gear. Now we're coming to the bike gear and I'm really excited to show you this. First up, my bike. It arrived about a week ago and I'm extremely happy with it. It just looks awesome. It has everything I ever dreamed of having on a race bike. I actually never owned a race bike before. I just always had a mountain bike which I used for almost 8 years. So this is quite an upgrade. I got awesome guidance from a salesman at a German bike shop who helped me customize this entire bike. All in all it cost about 2,200 euros. I've actually never ridden it because we had a lot of snow in the past few days. And the roads were being salted, so the tires would have gotten damaged. I'm definitely planning to take this bike out on the road soon though, and I'm absolutely certain that it's gonna be amazing. Next to the bike there are some other things. First up, my bike gloves that I have for quite a while now. They are just awesome. One of the most padded bike gloves you can find. They're from a brand called Röckel and I've used them on my bike tour, 275 kilometers into the Swiss Alps, and they've worked perfectly fine and they're very comfortable. They were around $70. As an accessory to the bike we have the clip-on pedals, and I chose a version which is a bit more friendly for everyday life with a pretty normal sole so that I can still comfortably walk in them if I'm not on the bike. I'm also thinking of getting an indoor bike trainer, perhaps a Wahoo kicker, but I'm not really sure if I actually need it. So I'm still thinking about that. So that was everything about my bike gear. Now we'll head on to my running gear. The most important thing, my good old running shoes. They're from the brand Asics, and I've ran about 900 kilometers in them up until now. And if you're a runner, you know that it's about time to change them. I'm probably gonna change them next week or so. Perhaps I'll get the exact same model because I've really been content with them. They're great shoes and were pretty expensive. They cost me about $150, but were definitely worth it. I had many great runs in them. So obviously I have multiple sports shorts, but this one I wanted to point out specifically because it's my absolute favorite from Nike, and I really like it because it has these two layers. It has this first black layer that sits really tight on your skin, and this red layer covering it, which is pretty loose. Definitely like the design. It has 3 pockets on the sides and even on the back, which is really helpful. I didn't buy them specifically for the Ironman. I had them before already, but yeah, they're just my favorite. Next up we have some running accessories. So if it's sunny outside, I'm wearing this. This is just a sun cap, cost me about 15 bucks. Then my good old light for nighttime runs, which are actually pretty common. Probably 1 in 4 runs or so is a nighttime run for me, especially slow, easy paced runs. I like to do in the dark because there's nobody around. It actually broke right when I first bought it. I broke off the battery pack, so since day one I had to put on this rubber band to keep it closed. That means when I'm running in the dark, in the rain, it's not a good combination because probably eventually water's gonna get inside and break this thing. It's a black diamond, and this is just my all-round belt. I put my energy bars in there, my keys, just anything right around the waist. Last but not least in running, my running goggles, which are also my biking goggles. They're about $80. They're from the brand Van Riesel. I really like the design. And the good thing about it is that they have a really good field of view. So if I put them on, it's almost as if I don't have them on, because I can really just see everything in every direction I could normally see in, just with UV protection, which makes them really great glasses. And I use them pretty much for every run and every bike ride. Let's talk a bit about nutrition. My nutrition during training is probably less than optimal. What I normally do for my long run, which at the moment about 28 kilometer runs, I just take 3 of those bars, which are 28 grams in weight. This one is just chocolate flavor. I also have chocolate apple flavored energy bar. Yeah, I just take a couple of them with me on the run, eat them at regular intervals, but I know that I should probably eat more and more energy dense food, but it works pretty well for me at the moment. In the future, in longer and more intense runs, I might switch to something like Hyrox energy gels, which I bought from My Protein. There's a bunch of gels inside, and each of them has 30 grams of carbs in them. I know from a friend they taste alright, they taste pretty plasticky, but I think in the nearby future I'm gonna try them out, and will probably primarily rely on gels for running fuel because they're just more compact in energy. I also have this electrolyte powder with watermelon flavor. It's also from My Protein, from Hyrox. I also never tried it, but will definitely in the future. Yeah, it's just good to have another electrolyte drink for longer runs that I'll do in the future. After the trainings, it's important to get protein in. So for that reason, I have 2 different types of protein bars. Both are from the brand Process and taste pretty good. I have this one, this peanut butter protein bar, and then just a regular chocolate one. And especially after longer workouts, I like to eat one to get my protein up. So that was pretty much all of my Ironman gear, but there's actually one more thing. My Garmin Forerunner 945. I've had this thing for about 3 years now, and it's a great watch. I track all of my workouts with it, except my morning strength workouts. Sometimes during the swims it's a bit inaccurate. Sometimes it counts a lap or two too many or too few, but all in all it's It is a great watch and I'm really happy that I got this as a gift. Now I think I've shown you all of my gear, and here is the total cost of all the gear I've mentioned. I'm sure it's going to be a pretty big number, so obviously you can spend a lot more money than this on Ironman gear. There's people who spend $20,000 upwards on just the bike, but obviously those are professionals or just people with a lot of money. Also, you can spend a lot less on Ironman gear. I'm in a very privileged position to be able to buy these sort of things, but you would certainly be able to participate in an Ironman with a lot cheaper gear. If you have any questions about my gear or my Ironman journey, write them in the comments, and also subscribe to the channel if you're interested to follow along with my journey towards the Ironman. And most importantly, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.